But tonight the big story is that of the big terror names that had one of the biggest names in the 26/11 attacks, who has nailed the role of the Pakistani army, the ISI and the Lashkar-e-Taiba. In a 4-hour testimony via a video link from a US president, David Coleman Headley admitted today how Lashkar chief Hafiz Saeed and Mumbai attack plotter Zakir Rahman Lakhvi inspired and ordered him to wage war against India. Now the Indian government is planning to sell a fresh dossier to Pakistan to confront the revelations made by Headley.
Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist David Coleman Headley, alias Dawood Gilani, has nailed terror mastermind Hafiz Saeed and Zakir Rahman Lakhvi's role in 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Deposing before a Mumbai court through video conferencing, Headley exposed Pakistan's army and ISI's involvement in the worst terror attack that left 166 people dead in Mumbai.
In the court, David Coleman Headley appeared calm and composed. During the entire 5 hours of deposition, he answered every question with regards to the training that he had undergone at the Lashkar-e-Taiba and his meetings with the ISI and the Pak army officials. Now, all eyes are on the deposition on Tuesday, where he will be talking about the preparations for the 26/11 terror attack.
Headley confessed to be inspired by the Lashkar chief, who ordered him to wage war against India, instructing to scout Mumbai and Delhi for terror targets. Headley named ISI agents Major Iqbal and Major Ali, who connected him to Sajid Mir, a Lashkar recruiter. Headley admitted to attending 2-year terror training in Pakistan, identifying locations of terror camps at Muridke and Abbottabad, including one in POK's Muzaffarabad.
I think we are on the proper track to know the larger magnitude of the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November.
This case is between prosecution and defense. I am here for the approver to cooperate with the prosecution and help advance his case further, whatever he wants to do in this particular trial and maybe more.
Sources tell India today that the government is mulling to confront Pakistan with a fresh dossier on the revelations made by Headley against 26/11 masterminds.
Who is involved in the entire case and where are the backgrounds of Headley's all this working system and supports, backup and everything.
This is something that justice will only be brought to the memory of the victims of 26/11 if we have closure with all action being taken against these vicious people.
The more important part is it exposes again in the public domain the linkage of Pakistan in terms of sponsoring terrorism.
With Pakistan, it's always been about 1 step forward and 2 steps backwards. Despite having legal testimony from David Coleman Headley, little is expected out of Pakistan. In the past, whatever India has been given has been termed as circumstantial evidence. What is going to change is perhaps little, which is being expected, except embarrassment to Pakistan. With camera person Anil Jaiswal, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Delhi for India Today.
So who exactly is Major Iqbal and the others named by David Coleman Headley in his deposition today? Gaurav Sawant now explains.
David Coleman Headley or Dawood Gilani has spilled the beans on Lashkar and Pakistan ISI role in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. So let's now talk about the main characters who recruited him and who handled him. Sajid Mir. Now Sajid Mir not only financed the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks to an extent, but he also was one of his handlers. Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba founder, he was also the main ideologue of terror, who was also the pointsman between Lashkar and Pakistan's ISI. Let's now talk about Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, the Chacha of terror, the chief commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba. Now he talked to all these terrorists, not only the 10 who attacked India, but also David Coleman Headley, and filled their heads with hatred for India. Major Iqbal. Now Major Iqbal and Major Ali, these two persons of Pakistan's ISI, they were the ones who first arrested him for smuggling drugs, interrogated him, converted him into waging jihad against India. They used him because he was an American passport holder, could openly come to India and travel freely. Major Abdul Rahman Pasha, once again an ISI officer who was directly involved in this terror attack, not only in training the terrorists but also smuggling weapons into India.
Gaurav Sawant there giving us the dramatis personae in the 2611 case. Let me go straight across to the man of the moment, Ujjwal Nikam, Special Public Prosecutor, who this morning was questioning David Coleman Headley. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Nikam. Can I ask you how Headley appeared during this video conference to you? Was he someone who you felt was ready to divulge the entire truth as he saw it, or was he dodging the questions? Was he telling you the full truth?
At some question, he gave very straight answers, and my impression that he was telling the truth. At some question, he tried to dodge, but it may be due to the lapse of the years, because he was committed an act in the year 2008 or much prior to that, even 2005. So it is quite possible that he might not have been remembering certain facts, but when I brought him on a proper track. But overall, I think he was cooperating.
He was cooperative, but please tell me, Mr. Nikam, what is it that David Coleman Headley has said that has actually taken this case forward in terms of actually providing clinching, and I use the word clinching evidence, in the 2611 trial?
Today, I won't say the whole clinching evidence set, because I had to interrogate, I had to probe him more in detail. But certainly, he throws some light on the certain activities of Lashkar-e-Taiba. He has given 4 or 5 sensitive revelations. The first revelation which he had gives that what is his original name, and why did he change to David Headley, when he visited Pakistan, and who had given him idea, the name of the ISI, that is Major Pasha, and that Mr. Ali, and how he wanted to meet the drug peddler, that is along with his Abdul Rahman Pasha, and he was arrested with the assistance of Ali. He was discharged from a particular case in Pakistan. Then about the founder of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, that is Hafiz Saeed, then operational commander.
No, please tell me, you mentioned Hafiz Saeed specifically. What is it that David Coleman Headley has said today that will enable us to provide further evidence to show how Hafiz Saeed was the mastermind maybe of 2611? Did he say that Hafiz Saeed was the mastermind?
See, today I asked certain preliminary questions. I have not probed him into detail. I may probe him in the coming days, and let us see what he throws light on these particular leaders. I am going one compartment by compartment. You see, while dealing with the terrorists, one has to go very slowly and very carefully also, and I am adopting the same strategy in probing him in detail.
But you know, Mr. Nikam, there will be a belief that till you get those voice samples from Pakistan, which are there in Pakistan, you will not be able to actually nail the culprits in terms of ensuring in some way that the world knows exactly who was involved, that Pakistan will continue to otherwise live in denial. Is that a fear that you still have?
See, that ultimately the government of India has to take a call on it. I don't want to advise on this such sensitive issues. But let his evidence be over, then Mr. Azib, I may certainly tell you in what manner now we had to go, and how his evidence would be clinching against those who are the perpetrators behind the terror attack of 26 November.
But you know, Mr. Nikam, has Headley's deposition today in any way established that at least that close link between the ISI and Lashkar, is that one of the major forward points in a sense? We knew about it, but here you've got an American operative who operated with the Lashkar openly admitting to it. Is that the forward movement?
Certainly. By naming only 2 persons, I won't dare to say that he had disclosed everything about ISI, but certainly he did disclose that these 2 persons were from ISI and they helped him. And I did ask him one question, very important question, as to why that Ali, though from ISI, did help you, and why he, because of his efforts, he discharged you from the criminal case. Then he said that I was having the Indian pictures and other things and therefore Ali had introduced with Major Pasha, who is a serving guy in ISI. So this is something very, very interesting, and that shows how the ISI people were interested to do criminal activities in India.
What is interesting and what is coming out also is that he says that there were 2 prior attempts to 26/11 in September and October of the same year, and that he had come to Mumbai on several occasions. Did you ask him about his local connection, how he managed to get in and out of Mumbai so many times so easily?
Rajdeep, I am going to probe so many questions about how he arrived in Mumbai, who were his helping hand, whether they had any knowledge about Headley's activities, what were the plans. Not only that, Rajdeep, but I'm going to contradict him with certain documentary evidence which I am having the possession. And I would like to seek more explanation from Mr. Headley on those documents, certain documents. And I'm very interesting, I have much more interest to know as to how Headley is going to deal with this documentary evidence. I don't want to divulge before the camera. Otherwise you will ask me the next question, what is that documentary evidence, okay?
Well, I would like to ask you what the documentary evidence you actually have to nail David Headley beyond what he is already revealing. But let me ask you in conclusion, do you believe that there are those who feel that because he's entered into a plea bargain with the US federal courts, in a sense, we in India have to now simply accept the fact that David Coleman Headley has in a way got away? Someone who was part of that conspiracy of 26/11 has got away because of the plea bargain that he entered with the Americans.
I don't know who are taking this view, but if anybody is taking that view, I must tell them that they must go through what is agreed between US government and Mr. Headley. Mr. Headley has been sentenced for 35 years, and not only that, it was one of the conditions of that agreement that he will not be handed over to India or to Pakistan. So when he was not being handed over to us for the trial, then I know the best strategy that set a thief to catch a thief. हम चोर को पकड़ने को चोर से पकड़ाते हैं. So I know that very practical wisdom. I adopted that practical wisdom, and I worked on this project, Rajdeep, since about 4 to 5 months, and therefore I reached this stage. And of course I no hesitation to say that some of the officers from the government of India and my Mumbai crime branch, they assisted me and helped me a lot, and therefore we could reach this journey.
Okay, let me leave it there. I know you've got a long day coming up tomorrow when the depositions continue, but the question is, of course, to catch a thief, did you need David Coleman Headley, and will the Pakistanis actually now be willing to act against the likes of Lakhvi and Saeed? I appreciate, Ujjwal Nikam, you're joining me here on the news today. Now, let me just for a moment step back. The Taj Hotel, remember, became the face of the 26/11 attacks. Those images of the iconic structure with smoke and flame billowing came to represent the horror that Pakistan had unleashed on India's most cosmopolitan city. But as the attacks played out, agencies were, remember, recording the telephone directions coming to the terrorists straight from Pakistan. Let's once again listen into the terror tapes of the Taj attack to try and now piece together what David Coleman Headley has told Ujjwal Nikam today.
The Taj was on edge. 4 terrorists held the entire hotel hostage. After a 1-hour killing spree, the terrorists made room number 632 their den of operations. 2 terrorists positioned themselves inside the room. The other 2 ventured out into the hotels looking for more positions. But the plan of action was already being laid out over a phone line from Pakistan.
नहीं साढ़े को कुछ भी नहीं कवर अहीं तो बड़ी उत्ते आके बह रहे थे वो पता नहीं किथे चला गए ने दोवें
अल्लाह तुसी मेरा वीर तेरा ना ए फीडिंगा ए जरूर कवर करो क्या कोन उत्ते 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 आउणा है ਤੇ ਜੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਮਰੇ ਬਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਉਸ ਇਸ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਹਿਫੂਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾਲ ਕਮਰਾ ਵੇਖਣਾ ਸੀ।
ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਕਿਹਾ, ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੇ। ਮੈਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਮੈਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜਲਦੀ ਆਓ, ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਏ। ਹੁਣ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਦੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਸਾਈਡ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ।
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਉਧਰ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਮਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੂਰ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ?
ਉਹ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕ ਹੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਹਾਲ ਹੁਣ ਦੂਰ ਹੀ ਚਲਾ ਗਏ ਨੇ
ਕਿਤੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਮੰਜ਼ਿਲ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ ਕਿਧਰੇ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਥੱਲੇ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਥੱਲੇ ਕੰਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਗਰਨੇਡ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ? ਹਾਂ ਗਰਨੇਡ ਪਿਛਾਪ ਸੁੱਟੋ ਥੱਲੇ। ਗਰਨੇਡ ਮੈਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਭਲਾ ਵਫਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਗਰਨੇਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁੱਟਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ 15-20 ਮਿੰਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਸੋਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਵੀਏ ਨਾ ਅਵੀਏ। ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਟ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਥੋੜੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਕ ਧਮਾਕਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਗਰਨੇਡ ਦਾ, ਨਾ ਗਰਨੇਡ ਸੁੱਟਿਆ।
ਚਲੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਗਰਨੇਡ ਸੁੱਟ
ਮਾਰ ਰਿਹਾ।
The action plan laid out by the handlers in Pakistan revolved around what positions the terrorists should take and how best to hold fort against counter-action.
अच्छा ये कमरा खाली है, उतले कमरा नाग ला गया उसने। ठीक है जरा उसको खाली करोगे ना कमरा, वो नाग ला के आ गया।
सही है जी इंशाल्लाह।
ते मेरा भी तुसी हुन पता की काम करना है?
हां जी
हुन तुसी थल्ले इना थल्ले ला के आवो। ठीक है थल्ले पूरा पहरा दे दिया। थल्ले उन्हें कोई पुलिस ऑफिसर दी होवे क्योंकि पुलिस आए थल्ले पूरे मुतरफ ने ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ 20-25 ਮਿੰਟ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਥੱਲੇ ਸੁੱਟ ਦਿਆ ਕਰੋ।
ਚਲੋ ਹੁਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਇੰਸ਼ਾਅੱਲਾ ਉੱਤੋਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਸਰਪ੍ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ। ਉਸਰੇ ਨਾ ਖਿੜਕੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਵਰਸਣਾ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ਾ ਤਾਂ ਬੜਾ ਐਂਟਰੀ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤ ਹੈ। ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ੇ ਵੀ ਬੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਖੁੱਲਦਾ ਵੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਸਲਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਖੈਰ ਹੈ ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਤੋੜ ਦੋ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਮਰਾ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੜਾ ਲੱਭਿਆ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਮਰਾ ਲੱਭਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿਆ।
ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਮਰਾ ਲੱਭ ਗਿਆ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੋਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੱਭ ਗਿਆ ਕੋਈ ਕਮਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਭਿਆ ਹੈ
ਬੜਾ ਬਿਹਤਰੀਨ ਹੈ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਹਨ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਵੈਸੇ ਬੜਾ ਮਹਿਫੂਜ਼ ਹੈ। ਅੱਗੇ ਦੋ ਡਬਲ ਕਿਚਨ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਥ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਬਸ। इनके शीशे शीशे
पानी है जे
पानी लभ ले हां
पानी है थे
वैसे जेडे
पानी दी बाल्टी को रखनी है तौलिया ते पानी दी बाल्टी को रखनी है जैसे सटराम होल कर रहा है ना तुसा उन्होंने वास्तु गैस से जेडे गोले मारने तो पानी जेड़ा ना तौलिया वो तुहानू बचाएगा उस वेले।
The handlers meticulously instruct their terror squad on precisely when and how to lob grenades, and the terrorists keep their masters in the loop about every single thing that happens.
हाँ हाँ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। जगह पोजीशन बदलो यार, मुख्तलिफ पोजीशन से जाओ, इकट्ठे मत बैठो। जिधरों आ रहे हो उधर ग्रेनेड सुटो।
ये अभी तक कोई पता नहीं चल रहा। उन शहीद ने फायर किया तो वो पीछे भाग गए एक मरतबा ना तो।
अच्छा मेरे भाई पता है एक तो ना चारों इकट्ठे ना वो फैल जाओ ताकि ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਆਏ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੁxtਲਿਫ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਫਾਇਰ ਆਏ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਕਵਰ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਤਿੰਨ ਥਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਖਾਏਗਾ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਨਾ ਫਾਇਰ।
ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦਾ ਕਮਰਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਚਲ ਜਾਈਏ।
हाँ अच्छा ਇਹਦੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ, ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਕਮਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਮਨੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਨਾ ਅਸੀਂ।
Puppets of terror spilling blood at will, their masters smile from across the border through the gratifying safety of a phone line.
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਮਝ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀ ਆ, ਕੋਈ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਕੈਮਰਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਤੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ।
क्यों नजर क्यों नहीं आता? कैमरे लगे उत्ते की लगी है? लाइटां लगी हैं ना, लाइटां तो अलावा और की लगे है?
मसला लाइटां लगियां ने, पता नहीं किस चीज दा बटन है।
An officer from the Mumbai police arrived at the hotel security camera room to get a fix on the location of the terrorists. It soon became clear that the terrorists were in room 632 on the 6th floor. The terror masterminds in Pakistan somehow got the impression that the game was up, and that's why they handed down the order for the hotel to be set ablaze.
कंप्यूटर ने हर साइड ते पे साडे ना एडे वड्डे कंप्यूटर ने 22-30 इंच दे।
हां
वो कंप्यूटर ही दस रहे हैं
जलाया नहीं आग
बस उन्हां नूं
क्यों नहीं लांदे
हुन बस आग लाने लगे इंशाल्लाह। देखो ती थोड़ी देर बाद ना
एक नजर आवे ना इत्थे आग दे छोले उठ देता है
वो ना दो भाई गए ना पर एक कमरा खोलने वास्ते ना परली नुकर च।
हाँ
समुद्र वाली साइड ते उधर वो कमरा खोल लेंदे ना फिर इस कमरे नूं ही अग ला के उधर आने।
अच्छा नहीं तुसी मेरा वीर अग ला देवो, तुसी लेट ना करो अग लाण से।
वो फिर साडे कोल जगह भी कोई नहीं ना, एक ही कमरा इनू अग ला दी आपी किथे जावांगे।
अच्छा तो तुसी सर नो सही मंजिल तो?
हां
ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਗਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਲੀਨ ਸੀਨ ਪਿਆ ਹੈ ਪਰਦੇ ਸ਼ਰਦੇ ਪਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਕਿਧਰੇ ਅਗ ਲਾਉਣੇ ਸੀ ਪਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ।
ਆਹੋ ਉਹੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਭਾਈ ਆਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਲਾਣੇ ਆ ਨਾ
ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੀਰ। ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਸੁੱਟਿਆ ਥੱਲੇ? ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਸੁੱਟਣਾ ਥੱਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਬੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੀ ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਸੁੱਟਣ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡਾਂ ਸੁੱਟਣ ਦਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਚੇਤ ਲੱਗਦਾ?
ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੋ ਬੰਦੇ
ਥੱਲੇ ਸੜਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਖੜੀਆਂ ਖੜੀਆਂ ਹਾਂ
ਉਹ ਦੋਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਭੇਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਕੇ ਭੇਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ ਵਾਲੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਸੁੱਟੋ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੁੱਟਦੇ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਐਵੇਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ
ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਸੁੱਟਣਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਯਾਰ ਕੋਲ ਗ੍ਰਨੇਡ ਉਹਦੇ ਪਿੰਨ ਕੁਝ ਥੱਲੇ ਸੁੱਟ ਦਿਓ
ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੱਬਾ ਹੀ ਆਇਆ ਉਹਦੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਪੂਰੇ ਹੋਟਲ 'ਚ ਧੂੰਆਂ ਹੀ ਧੂੰਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ
ਚਲੋ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਧੂੰਆਂ ਯਾਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੀਰ ਕੋਈ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਸ ਉਹਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਜੋ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਧੂੰਆਂ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖੋ ठीक है अल्लाह तुम देखा से फोन अटेंड करना जैसे फोन से करके हाँ अग वाले काम तो लेट नहीं करनी
बस हूँ अग लग जाएगी इंशाल्लाह यार वो कहते अग चलाओ
Notice the disturbing minute details dealt down by the handlers. They even kept a check on how many grenades had been used. The terror handlers in Pakistan basked in the warm glow of the Taj fire.
So those were those dramatic tapes. Has Headley's confessions today, revelations today then taken the case forward? Can India now nail Pakistan once and for all in 2611? Joining me now in the studio, Sandeep Unithan, who's written a book on 2611. Bharat Karnad, strategic and terror affairs expert, joins me. Bisham Mansukani was a victim in the Mumbai 2611 terror attack. And Sultan Hali, defense analyst from Islamabad, is joining me. Sandeep Unithan, deputy editor of India Today. I want to come to you first. You've tracked this story. You've heard what has been said by Headley today. Do you believe in any way he's taken it forward, or has he told us what we already knew, particularly about the role of Lakhvi and Hafiz Saeed and the ISI?
Well, Rajdeep, firstly, let's look at the role of David Headley. I don't think there's ever been a person as colorful as David Headley in the history of terrorism. I mean, here you have someone who comes in, you know, his story is like a Jason Bourne kind of double agent who comes into a terror group. He's working for the US government, and at the same time he's influenced by the Lashkar-e-Taiba. He's attracted by their ideology, and he comes across the LET plan to attack Mumbai in 2006. And in 2006, the LET has a very modest plan, if I can put it that way, a modest plan to attack Mumbai. They plan to just attack one hotel in the Taj Hotel in Mumbai. Headley comes, he does such an extensive recce surveillance. He's the ultimate deep cover agent. He infiltrates himself, he lives the life of a spy in Mumbai, he befriends the people. He takes very minute GPS fixes of all the targets. He does very, very meticulous recce, reconnaissance videos. He goes and actually stays in these hotels where the terrorists attack. And it is his reconnaissance that gives the LET the confidence to plan this kind of a terrorist operation. I mean, it's probably one of the most spectacular so-called terror attacks in the history of the world.
So he knew everything. He knew everything. There is nothing that David Headley didn't know.
No.
Did you sense, I come back to it very quickly, did you sense anything that he said today which in effect nails the role of Hafiz Saeed, the ISI and the Lashkar?
Well, Rajdeep, Headley is the only person who can piece together all the disparate parts of the 2611 conspiracy. Now, we know the Pak state was involved, the ISI was involved, the Pakistan army was involved, the Lashkar-e-Taiba was involved. But here you have in the person of David Headley the first time that someone who's piecing together all these
So you got a sense that he's piecing together the various elements.
Yeah,
he's unraveling the entire conspiracy as it's
That's right, that's right. And you know, he's told us about two very interesting characters of Major Ali and Major Iqbal. Now, Major Ali and Iqbal are not just ISI operatives. They work for a branch of the ISI called the S Directorate. It's the most secret organization within the LET which exclusively handles terrorist groups, the Taliban and the LET.
Let me take that to Sultan Hali. Sultan Hali, you're hearing what Sandeep Unithan is saying. After what Headley has said today, how long can Pakistan, sir, remain in denial? Would you concede that David Headley has once again ripped the cover of Pakistan's ISI Lashkar nexus and to that extent embarrassed you globally? It's all out in the open. There is nothing that Pakistan can now deny if the man at the center of it all is giving details of the entire conspiracy.
Well, thank you so much for asking. First of all, we are having this discussion slightly premature because the deposition of David Coleman Headley or Daud Gilani is not over as yet. Until the deposition is complete, he tells you everything, whatever he has to say. then only we'll be able to really,
Mr. Ali, come on. Let's be very clear. Yes, the deposition is to continue for a few more days, but prima facie, would you concede, based on what he has said today, that David Coleman Headley has ripped apart the connection that we all know exists, the worst kept secret between the Lashkar and the ISI and their role in 2611? Yes or no, sir?
No, sir. Because you have to take the evidence which is being provided by David Headley as with a pinch of salt, because this man has been suffering from multiple personality disorders, and the psychiatrist has to verify that whether he's speaking the whole truth. Secondly, the part about Major Ali and the other person, you see, no secret agency or no secret agent worth his salt ever tells its agents that they belong to the ISI or to the IB, or in your case the RAW. It is always a closely guarded secret. So even if they were or they are part of the ISI, they would never tell him. So
hold on. You are now saying that he suffers from a psychological disorder and therefore his views should not be taken seriously. Respond to that, Bharat Karnad. Is this Pakistan once again, in a sense, attempting to somehow live in denial? Do you see David Coleman Headley actually nailing Pakistan, or can Pakistan once again sort of claim that they do not really know about David Coleman Headley's antecedents?
Well, look, I think we can't be gullible enough to think that the Pakistani establishment will be inclined to accept any evidence we give them as that would implicate any of the Pakistan agencies. That's not likely to happen. So the point is that considering that Headley was ultimately also an intelligent agent for an American agency, I think is the Bureau for Firearms and Tobacco or something, and God knows what else. So the Americans have their own vested interest in keeping him with them, because they wouldn't like him to spill the beans about his association with American agencies. So what he tells us here is ultimately hearsay about Hafiz Saeed. I mean, this is part of the plea bargaining arrangement. Now, whether he's actually imprisoned and where, we don't know. We can't be certain. The point to make is, he has served the American interest, he has served the Pakistani interest, but neither of them, would want to own up to his shenanigans in Bombay, and that's a problem. So when he talks about Hafiz Saeed or the other people, it's still hearsay.
No, it may be hearsay.
We have evidence of our own.
Yes. I
mean, then you can certainly.
But he is at the center of the conspiracy. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. David Coleman Headley was not a marginal figure in 2611. I think we need to get that straight. That David Coleman Headley was at the center of what was going on 2611. So therefore, it was not hearsay. It was not hearsay that he's basing his deposition on. He was very much part of the conspiracy.
Yes, but try explaining that to the Pakistanis who are not inclined to accept any evidence you give them. As far as they are concerned, his allegations and charges against Lakhvi and all these other characters, Hafiz Saeed and so on, they'll dismiss as hearsay. Whatever we might say, we know his role, we know the part he has played, but that doesn't prove anything to the Pakistanis.
Okay, I get your point, Mr. Karnad. I take your point. Sir, I take your point on that. Bisham Mansukani, you're a victim of the Mumbai 2611 terror attack. When you listen to these studio discussions, and this is not the first time we've held it, over the last now 7-8 years, do you get a sense that we are back? It's the sense of deja vu. Pakistan will live in denial. India will throw up the evidence, and we will again be back to square one. Not one person has been convicted as yet, and we've gone through 8 years since the worst ever terror attack. As someone who suffered that day, what would you like to say?
Good evening, Rajdeep, and I just request you to refer to me as a survivor, not a victim.
As a survivor would be a better way, yes.
It's been almost 8 years, and it was quite distressing for me to watch some of these images that kind of brought back a lot of memory that I've been trying to put behind me and move on. But terrorism is obviously as much a reality today as it was back then. Nothing has really changed, and what David Headley has said today, while it might be earth-shattering in many ways in terms of the names that he's dropped, the fact is, when you do something over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of stupidity. That is basically India's policy towards Pakistan. Pakistan's policy towards India, apart from sponsoring terrorism, is denying it. That was the case 8 years ago. That is the case 8 years from now. I'm looking at the television screen and I'm seeing the ticker reading that India wants to send another dossier to Pakistan. It's a sense of deja vu. It's an angering sense of deja vu that's just about what we're doing. We're submitting evidence to Pakistan. Pakistan denies it, and the circle of terror continues. So there is no closure. Qasab's hanging wasn't a closure. I was against that right from the start. Hafiz Saeed and his lieutenants being handed over to us for a fair trial, that would be closure. But what I see right now does not convince me that I will find that closure.
Sultan Ali,
towards Pakistan.
Sultan Ali, here you're hearing from someone, a survivor, who's saying at the end of the day, innocent people died. The fact is, there must come a time when a nation must start accepting that you cannot live in this Alice in Wonderland world and claim that Headley is someone that you will not, whose testimony will not be accepted, that evidence which is provided by the Indian government will not be accepted. Somewhere, what will it take for the Pakistani state to accept and say, yes, the ISI and the Lashkar were involved in 26/11?
Well, you see, I'm sorry to say that you sort of distorted my words. I was not in a denial mode. I only said two things. One, I said that you have to take David Coleman Headley's testimony with a pinch of salt. Then I said that you have to wait for the whole deposition to be over. Now, you see, things have changed slightly. The government of Pakistan is ready to accept evidence. This is what transpired between the two prime ministers when they met. And Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has welcomed that if you have fresh evidence, please send it to us and we'll definitely examine it. We are not denying it outright. Allow us to examine it. But before that, complete your testimony as far as Mr. David Headley is concerned.
Sandeep Punithan, give me a final word on this. Where do we stand? Given these positions, they almost seem like frozen positions. Right. It almost seems that we will do year after year. We are going to keep going at it, but no one will get convicted.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that David Coleman Headley testimony can be disregarded by Pakistan?
But that's what they've been doing all along. I mean, it's now, we have this conundrum of the two Daouds, if I could put it that way. We have a Dawood Ibrahim and now we have a David Coleman Headley, alias Dawood Gilani. So it's Pakistan is always going to be in denial. You have Dawood Ibrahim, who as we well know, has been sheltered by the Pakistan government. He's the person who carried out the 1993 Mumbai blast. He's been designated a global terrorist, and the Pakistani state refuses to acknowledge his existence. And today you have Dawood Gilani, which they will again deny that they had anything to do with.
So you believe that it will take much more than even David Coleman Headley's testimony before Pakistan accepts its role in 26/11?
Absolutely. They're a state in denial.
They're a state in denial. And that's really the biggest worry that we have at the moment. Even as Ujjwal Nikam and others battle it out, the fact is, in the courtroom it's one thing. In the real world of politics, Pakistan seems to remain in denial. I appreciate all my guests joining us. Remember, tomorrow, day 2 of that deposition, we'll continue to track that story in Mumbai. Let's turn from there to a story which has shocked me today. An 8-year-old boy killed in celebratory firing. Yes, I use the word celebratory firing, in celebration by Samajwadi Party workers after a victory in a local poll in western UP's Shamli district. The victim was passing by in a rickshaw when he was hit by a bullet during the firing by Samajwadi Party workers. The police have registered a case of murder against the SP candidate Gayur Inam, who won that Bloc Pramukh election. And finally, we are told that Akhilesh Yadav has decided to act. But it is not just in Shamli. Across UP, those are the kind of images we saw. People firing gunshots in the air. Is this Gunda Raj at its worst is the question I want to raise now. That's right. Joining me now at the moment is Gaurav Bhatia, the spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Gaurav Bhatia, I hope today at least you are going to openly admit that your party is ashamed, You have embarrassed people, you have embarrassed your party, the country, in the manner in which you have gone about engaging in celebratory firing, which has resulted in the death of a 9-year-old boy. Will you say at least today on the program that you are sorry, that you are ashamed of what you have done?
Immense pain, I would say that this is an incident that should be condemned. And any person, if he is calling himself a Samajwadi Party leader and indulges in such an act, has no place in the Samajwadi Party. And this is most unfortunate.
You know, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, while you say that and you say that you feel the pain, the fact is that this is not the first time you've come to our TV studio on a day when the Samajwadi Party is accused of engaging in what I can only call Gunda Raj. It seems that the gun culture is inbuilt in your party. They were shooting in celebration across every district of UP. What kind of a party is this?
No, Rajdeep, that would be a very generalized statement. And first I would talk about the incident itself, because it is of utmost importance that everyone knows what action has been taken. Everybody is concerned about the family members of the deceased. So I would like to just highlight those points. The government has immediately suspended the inspector, the SP. The additional SP has also been transferred and he has been attached to the DGP. And as we are speaking, the party has suspended the block pramukh also, and a notice has been served on the MLA.
No, Mr. Bhatia, what about arresting those people who are walking on the road firing guns without license and thereby creating a situation that has resulted in the death of this young boy? Where are these people being arrested? The people I'm showing you on the television screen, you haven't arrested any of them.
Yes, I will answer that.
No,
absolutely.
you are.
Yes. No, there are, Rajdeep. An FIR was registered yesterday at 8 p.m.
Yes.
And within a few hours, 3 arrests were made.
The arrests were made only after the outcry on television.
And let me say this on your channel with some responsibility, that within the next few hours, you would see that more arrests would be made and these persons would be booked and they would be punished for the wrong deeds that they have committed.
No, but how many people will you actually act against? You seem to act only against small fry. You don't act against the leaders who are leading these mobs of people who are going around UP firing guns. How many more incidents is it going to take before you rein in those who are using your Samajwadi Party name to go around UP spreading this kind of terror?
No, Rajdeep, not just this issue of doing celebratory firing, but there was an issue of using red beacons, unauthorized use of red beacons, hooters, use of party flags, and the party cracked the whip. And the number has drastically gone down.
No, what whip?
But every such incident is still unfortunate, and the party as well as the government is committed to ensure that nobody breaks law. And as I started the program by saying that any such person who indulges in such an illegal act has no place in the Samajwadi Party.
You know, these are all fine words. You know, my worry is your police, sir. When a senior IPS officer a few months ago alleges that your Samajwadi Party Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav had threatened him over the phone, asked him to mend his ways, what can I expect from the workers? This culture seems to have spread from top to bottom in your party.
No, absolutely incorrect.
What is incorrect?
Absolutely incorrect. I refute those allegations. In fact, Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav himself being concerned, and he wanted to ensure that the law and order in the state is exemplary, met the senior most officers of the government. The Chief Minister has been working day and night to ensure that there are fast-track courts, there are best of facilities for the police personnel, and you would notice that, UP is the only state where there is a women power line, where the response time of the police has really come down because of the steps and measures that have been taken by the Chief Minister.
No, it doesn't seem to have actually in any way frightened your workers from still, in a sense, flirting with the law. It appears that no law is applied to your local party leaders, each of whom believes he is some kind of a that he controls a particular area. They are like local dons.
Absolutely. But would you at least agree that if 3 arrests were made within a period of 6 hours and more people will be nabbed in accordance with law, at least you have to give some reasonable time to the police to act. In each and every case, the police has acted.
You know, you say each and every case the police has acted. When a Times Now crew went to report the story, it was allegedly attacked by your party's MLA Nahid Hassan and they were forced to delete the footage. Why is your MLA still roaming freely? Why is he not arrested? The fact is that people believe they can get away with this in UP today.
Thank you for using the word allegedly. And I had raised this point even earlier on that channel that these people, without taking any permission, entered the room of the house where ladies were there and started recording without any permission. I don't want to get into these facts because it would not serve any purpose. However, I would say that the state government would ensure that the rights of journalists are protected and they can cover any event. However difficult it might be for the state government to face, in a fair and free manner. We will not impinge on their rights.
Mr. Bhatia, do you accept that your party's image has been severely damaged by incidents like this? Are you at least going to confess that the time has come for the Samajwadi Party to engage in course correction?
Yes, Rajdeep, I would say that every incident of this nature comes with a lot of pain. It damages the image, but at the same time, our commitment towards a state where there is exemplary law and order remains, and we will keep on working towards it. There have been number of positive steps.
I am amazed you are using the word exemplary. I am amazed you are using words like exemplary, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. Which world are you living in?
Yes, because Rajdeep, on another day, we will discuss how things have improved in the state of UP. Today, our concern remains that justice should be given to the family members of the deceased.
Well, the only way you can do justice is actually ensuring that incidents like this never happen. And remember, sir, at the end of the day, that little child will never come back. A family is grieving today because of the gun culture of your party, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia.